Hello and welcome to this video, which is going to be a NightBlade dungeon build. And this is the first dungeon build I've done for a healer in a very long time. And the reason why I haven't done dungeon healer build is that for a very long time in Elder Scrolls Online, it has been very hard to justify playing a dungeon healer. And the reason is that typically playing a healer is justified by the fact that it adds extra comfort. So if you think about crit launch trials, you can run those with one healer, but it's a bit more comfortable to run the two healers. So a lot of groups chooses to, but they know they're going to be a bit slower, but it's more comfortable. That's not so much been the case in dungeons, because you bring a healer and then the fights get a lot harder because you have less damage, so you're going to do a lot more mechanics, and it's generally only one-shots, mostly one-shots in there, so the healing really is not adding an extra level of comfort. So it's just harder with the healer. This build, for the first time, I feel like sort of breaches that, and actually sort of goes beyond, where I would actually say it is more comfortable. And it has to do with one thing. It has to do with the one set that ESOS has decided to add, and that is crypt cannon investments. I feel like this really changes everything. And why is that? Well, crypt cannon investments, of course, share assault among your group members. So at 500 ult, that's 500 divided by 3. So this is not really new, because we've had previously sets that shares with the group members, specifically, of course, the pillages set. The difference between these two sets is that in a dungeon setting, crypt cannon investments is more effective. Essentially, this is 100% of your ultimate shared, whereas with pillages, it's 25 per group member. You only have 3, so that's 75%. So this share gives more ult for per ult spent, and it's only a mythic. So if it's the only thing you're giving up at Pulse of Endlafate, you can still use 2 5p sets and a monster set besides this. And this is really a lot more efficient than using pillages in dungeons. Plus, it gives you minor heroism, and minor heroism potions are expensive. And you might say in trial scenario, yeah, I'm going to use minor heroism potion. But are you really going to use that in a dungeon unless you are very rich? So overall, you get a little bit more ultimate regen mostly, and you get 2 5p sets. And the 5p sets that we're using here is, first off, Arcases. People will know this set from trials. Typically, we use this on sort of the ad pack before the big pull, in the last big pull in the trial. So people have run hard mode trials will know. It's not really the bosses that are dangerous, it's actually that last ad pull before the last boss. And especially in Dressel, we have a good example of a pull where you will use Arcases is the Larger on the bridge, just before the last pull. So what does this do? Well, it is essentially every time you pop a potion, you gain a lot of extra ultimate, and your teammates gain this as well. So this is another way of sharing ultimate. More importantly, it scales very well with the NightBlade, because of course we have a passive that gives us ultimate every time we drink a potion. So NightBlades do get some extra ultimate regen using potion cooldown glyphs. Problem is, Arcases is a 30-second cooldown, so we want to get as close to a 30-second cooldown on our potions as possible. If we use 3 potion cooldown glyphs infused, we get 21 seconds cooldown. We don't really want that, but we have 2 choices. We could either run 5 potion cooldown glyphs, that would bring our cooldown to exactly 30 seconds. Or we can do as I did here, use 2 infused ones, then we have a 29-second cooldown. But you also have to be careful, because you want to wait for that Arcasis 30-second cooldown. So we're actually wasting a second of a potion cooldown glyph. Then what do we combine it with? Well, Spell Curfew. It's just a nice buff set. And then of course Osison for that 10% damage mitigation. And to see the full build, of course, can use her superstar. So this is the full build. So why am I saying that this really breaches the point between sort of a healer being worse than like useless, really, and it bringing some comfort? That has to do with just how powerful this ult sharing is. So if you have a maxed out ultimate of 500, then and you pop an Arcasis at the same time, you're giving almost 200 ultimate to your team members. This means they can literally pop 2 ultimates back to back using this build. And that's why it's so strong, because this ultimate sharing from these two sets alone, plus the extra damage from Spell Cure, really compensates for the fact that there isn't a third DD. And the nice thing about it, and now what I've found, is that people really like to play with this build. And it has to do with the fact that damage dealers are a little bit stupid. So a damage dealer running a dungeon would much rather run a dungeon that is theoretically a little bit slower while running with this build, because our ultimate sharing makes his number go up. And when the damage dealer sees the number go up, that means it's a better dungeon. He's had more fun. So by being there, giving those damage dealers a lot more DPS, they don't care that that dungeon run was really, a couple of minutes slower than it could have been for 3 DDs, because they have bigger numbers and that's better. Plus, you're still a healer providing all that extra healing. So for this reason, I feel like we find at a point where there is a healer build that I can, like, you can justify taking to a dungeon. And that is so nice, because dungeon healing really hasn't been a thing for the longest time, because every time I've thought about doing a dungeon, and I know a lot of people share this thought, they've been like, yeah, it could bring a healer, but it's just going to be slower and the boss fights are really just going to be harder. There's no reason to bring it. But I feel like it's finally a build that is fun to play, that is engaging, and that you can justify bringing. And this is also super fun to play. There's just one problem, and that's a problem for, I think, a lot of people. That is, how do I remember to use the potions on the back bar? And there is not really a public add-on for this, but there is some add-ons that have been made for blocking some of the other potions, like Clever Alchemist, where you really just need to change the set name in there, or else you can try and talk to some add-on creators that could probably create an add-on for blocking the potions on the front bar. Otherwise, it's just to remember to go back bar to drink your potion. Or what you could do as well is just double bar cases and then drop the monster set. That's also a way to fix that problem. You still have to remember to wait that 1 second. So to talk a little bit more about the build, the things are mostly obvious. We just want a cause of major brutality, and we have a savage as well, so that means we can use tri potions. And everything else pretty much explains itself sort of as a NightBlade healer build. So this was pretty much it for this video. This is, I think, the thing I've been most excited about since the Necron chapter is playing this dungeon healer build, because it's just so much fun, and it's also fun for the damage dealers you're playing with, because of course number go up. And that was it for this video. I'm going to keep it short and not talk for too long, and thank you for